I'm Ursula Parker, and I'm the general manager of the Roosevelt County Water Co-op, located in Portales, New Mexico. Okay, well, Roosevelt County is located in eastern New Mexico. It has a population of about 19,000. We roughly have about 130 to 140 miles of main lines in the ground. And we average roughly about 1,500 active customers a month. That just kind of fluctuates depending on what's going on. I would say probably one of the unique things about our system is we are probably at or below the poverty level. So we have a lot of, our area is a lot of agriculture, so we do have a lot of farm workers and that kind of stuff. And we seem to have a little bit of an older population on our system as well. We are a distribution system only, so we buy all of our water from the city of Portales. They produce it, they have the wells, they treat it, so everything we get is ready to go through our members' meters. Cost is probably the biggest challenge. Obviously, the city of Portales is trying to recoup some of their cost of producing it and treating it and all of that stuff. So cost has always been probably the biggest challenge for the co-op. Probably outdated would be a good thing to say. It worked. It was working for us. Mostly probably Badger and Census meters in the ground, but they were all very old mechanical brass meters. We had to read them every month. We've got 3 outside technicians. Depending on weather and different things, it took them about 3 to 4 days to read all the meters. And so they would get out manually, look at the meter, memorize the read, get back in their pickup, write it down, calculate, do the math, put it in the book, and then go on to the next one. If it appeared to them that the usage was high, they might go back out and check that meter to see if it was turning, to see if there was, if maybe they misread it or misremembered it. Then they would bring those reads that they had done into the office. And then we have 2 office staff that would spend roughly 5 to 7 days manually inputting those into the system too. Then we had a system of adding up the technicians' calculations and then what the computer said, comparing them. If they didn't match, trying to figure out why they didn't match. Anybody that had 10,000 gallons or more over for their usage that month, we went and double checked it. If that was normal usage for them, then we were okay with that. But if it appeared to be higher, then we generally would send that technician back out, recheck that read, recheck everything, see if the meter was turning. So it took us a solid 7 to 10 days to actually, from start to finish, to get the meter read, to get it inputted and have it in our billing software and feel comfortable that it was correct and accurate. Yeah, just to get us closer into the 21st century. We were seeing what was out there, how much more proactive that the water utilities could be with that technology. I mean, we looked at drive-by, we looked at radio, we looked at a lot of different things because we saw how far behind the curveball we were. After the pandemic and conventions and classes and technological classes and all of that started opening back up, myself and one of our technicians, we went to the New Mexico Rural Water Association Spring Conference. Part of one day is spent with vendors, and you get CEUs with that, but you go spend about 30 minutes with each vendor. And we happened to sit down at a booth next to the ResourceWise booth, but we didn't really feel like there was one gentleman there, and we just didn't really feel like he wanted to talk to us. I don't know if he was just tired or what. I don't know. So we spent those 30 minutes or so just kind of talking to him, got him to sign our card. Well, right next to them was ResourceWise, and so Jason and I just said, let's just pick up and sit down here, and we did. And for whatever reason, we developed a great friendship and relationship with them. We all sat and talked about our utility and the way we were reading meters and just the way we were doing everything. And even she, who only had, maybe 100 meters on her system, maybe 200, she was even a little bit more advanced than what we were. And that's just kind of how our relationship started with ResourceWise. It just kind of grew from there. It was nice to actually spend a class with a vendor specifically discussing our problems and our unique situation and the things that we were doing and how we were doing them, and that we were just a distribution system. We talked about all of it, and it was great. I think both. I really think the relationship part of it probably came first, because I felt like I could trust Aaron and their whole entire staff. Then going and starting to research a little bit about Kamstrup and the meters and what they could do. The first thing I did when I came back was I told my board, hey, there's a guy I really want you to meet. Can I put him on the agenda for next month's meeting? And they were like, absolutely. I just progressed from there. He gave us a lot of different options, with the financing, with trying for grants, just all those different things. He seemed to have all of that knowledge. They had already been trying, for years before that with the previous general manager, hey, will you get us some quotes? And they even took it upon themselves to go out in the industry and kind of look. Obviously they weren't getting the same kind of prices that we were, but they were looking at what was out there. We were so far behind in what we had that they didn't want to just take the next small step, because we did talk about drive-by. We would sit in a meeting and all of us pull up our phone and look at drive-by, look at some where you would go out there and wave the wand over them. But they knew that technology had really, it had obviously already been replaced, and they just didn't want to take one small step. They said, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it right. And so that was why I wanted Aaron to come talk to them and say, look, this is going to be the initial investment, or, we can do this way, we can apply for a grant. There's these different things that we could do. And it was, and that's why I wanted him there to talk to them, because it was ultimately their decision. They felt like they weren't going to be able to allow cost to be the biggest deciding factor. They were going to have to look at this as the true investment that it was. No moving parts was my big thing. That and just the entire, all the technology, the software, for us, we were really excited. The board was really excited about the automatic leak detection. Now, I will say we haven't fully utilized that yet, but that's okay. We're getting more data in there. We're starting to understand it a little bit more. Just the fact that it has brought conservation to the forefront with our members. It's everything to do with this entire system. The software, the meters, they're understanding it. They can see it. We can see it. We can help them recognize a leak when it starts. But it was everything, even from them on a consumer standpoint. They liked the fact that there was a meter out there that didn't have all these moving parts, that the only thing it was going to register was water that was going through it. I think they have mixed emotions. We've had a rocky relationship with the city of Portales, but we're working towards resolving that, and it's going very well. But one of the first, I actually went to a workshop where some people from Kamstrup and sustainability and ResourceWise came and presented to the city of Portales, and they asked me if I would go and tell them my relationship and my experience, and I did that. And one of the things that I did tell them is, prior to us working towards resolving it, we often were the blame of the water crisis. So, they just always, they made assumptions, and rumors in small towns are a lot. And, they had come to decide that we had farmers irrigating with our water and all this different stuff. I can tell you straight up, farmers are not irrigating with our water. They can barely afford to irrigate with their sprinklers. And so at that workshop, that was one of the things that I told them was, and I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I was able to show how much less water we had bought, and especially since we got these meters. And one of the city council people came up to me after the meeting, and he said, well, now, Ursula, he said, that's all fine and well that you're buying less water from us. He goes, but that's affecting our revenue. And I just smiled at him and said, yeah, I know that. But now they're starting to really educate they're public too, and I think they're starting to see that it's the only way we're going to survive is we've all got to start using less water. And I think one of the first steps is a good meter in the ground.